This is Parshat Chukat, and it comes right after Korach. Korach is the sensible rebellion. Korach comes to Moshe and telling him a lot of things you're asking us to do make no sense. He says, look, if I'm wearing a garment made of techelet, do I need tzitzit, a string that's techelet? And Moshe says, yes. And he says, that makes no sense. In a house filled with Sifrei Torah, do I need a mezuzah? Moshe says, yes. And says, that makes no sense. In other words, Korach's arguments are that what Moshe is asking them to do make no sense. Right? That was last week's Parsha. And we all know how that rebellion ended. This week, we start with Chukat, and it's about the mitzvah of the Paraduma, the Red Heifer. Okay, which if you thought what we did beforehand with Korach made no sense. The Paraduma, the Red Heifer, makes absolutely no sense. How can a heifer who's completely red purify somebody who needs to be purified? At the same time, it makes somebody who's performing it tamei, or impure. And this is to teach us something very important. Sometimes don't look to the Torah to make sense in the human sense. It's going to be something of these things we're asked to do is very strange. On the face of it, it sounds totally absurd. But when you put it together, it makes a lot of sense. Just as if you go over the laws of Shabbat, the laws of Shabbat are, I can move a piano from one part of my apartment to another, a heavy object, right? But I can't take a handkerchief outside unless we have an Eruv. Which you stop and say, wait a minute, that makes no sense. Yet, if you destroy a little bit of Shabbat, you destroy Shabbat. It doesn't make sense in a logical idea, but it makes sense when it's all put together. And that's one of the three things that the Paraduma is coming to teach. Don't look at this as an individual thing. Look at it as part of the whole. That it might not make sense individually, but it does make sense within the context of everything else we're doing. So that's something to think about.
I